Okay, so last time I did I started doing some behind the scenes stuff. I actually kind of structured my code a little bit more. Some of the stuff I started to put some functions inside the struct, but it would be pointless. And remember, C programming is not exactly object oriented. It's not really supposed to be object oriented. The closest you get to object oriented is structs. So what I did was made some type definitions, and I figured out what my problem was. I was starting out with a pointer, and one thing is you should never use globals because they can kind of clash with other libraries. So what I did was I took that stack and I didn't make it a pointer in the beginning, and I just carried that reference as a local variable scope. Just push that reference through, and so far everything is working. So if I do a make, once it runs my make file, everything compiles, and you'll be able to see that I think I still got it printed out. So let's see, it takes it a minute. So while that does that, and then I made some more functions for the commands. I kind of modularized it. This was copying one command to another, which I don't think I'm using that, but just in case I got to use in the future. Actually, see, you can see right here that it broke down all of the arguments, which right here, this may be an issue right here, but this might be that first argument that goes through, which I might have to just skip one argument or something like that. So I have to like kind of figure out where that bug is. But what I really want to do is I want to make a switch case. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a switch case for all of the commands that it's going to be like a router. So I'll make all the commands kind of like a router. And let's see. So maybe something like this. Let's see. So if we do a router and we say like void for a router, instead of doing a hash, I'm going to do a command router. Just call it a command router. And the question is, do I want to pass the actual command object through or the entire stack? What I might do is pass the command through. So what I'm going to do is call the command here, and we'll do a star cmd because I think everything else is as pointers. So if you go look up here, no, that command is not a pointer. So what I'm going to do is just pass the regular command like this. And let's go up and take this and prototype it. Let's prototype it. After I prototype it, there we go. So now let's talk about how we're going to do this switch case. So I know that when I do my switch case, it'll be something like this, switch, and maybe something like this, and then we do a default. Do a default, and then in that default, what we'll do is we just we'll just leave it, or put something like this, print f command not found, something like that, just for now. And then now what we have to do is we have to bring that command through that switch statement. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take, what I'm going to do is pass in the, let's say the CMD, and remember the first, so CMD dot, so we'll do something like this, do the CMD dot name, I think that'll be fair. Okay, and we might have to do it 2 lower, maybe, or maybe not. And what we'll do is right here, we put in some arguments or something like that. So if I do this switch case, and let's see something. Make sure I get this right, because usually switch cases, a lot of people have switch cases, but they use numbers. I want to use something like a word or something like that. So in order for me to use a word, it might have to be something like this. Let's do a case, and then for our case, let's see if I can do a string, and let's say maybe dash dash add for the name, which would be the name of it, and then we go here and let's do a break. Once we do that break, let me see, maybe I gotta do it this way, which is not right, so I have to do something like this. Okay. And so that's not good. So I have to figure out this switch case right here if I want to use a string. So let's see. String in switch case. Let's see. I might can be slick about it. I might can do something like this where I do a string compare. String compare, and we take this right here, and let's see. Yeah, I might just need to use a string compare. String compare or something like that. And what I can do is take this right here, take the CMD name, possibly, and post it there. Let's see if that helps out. I might just have to use an if statement instead of a switch case. Or, let's see. CMD. See, look at that. Must be an integer. So I might not be able to use a switch case. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna keep it stupid simple. If, let's do a bunch of if statements, and we do a if CMD string compare str compare CMP, and then we take the CMD dot name, and we take this right here and we do add. And then what we do is do something like that, because this is going to return a true or false. And so if I take, so then I got to tell what the logic would be, and let's do a if for a string compare subtraction. So we just do sub. Okay. But we got to take accountability for if it don't exist. So we might can do something like this where we do an else if. Right there, take that, and whoops, else if, and we use else if statements. I hate using else if statements, but And then right here, if we make it all the way to the bottom here, anything else to be dumped out. And so let's do a printf. And let's say command not found. Okay. Or invalid command. Let's do invalid. Oh, can't spell that. Invalid command. And after it does that invalid command, do we want it to return just error out? But we're just going to keep it for now. So now, what happens if we do an add? So you know our add, we have to kind of vet what we have in as the add. So we might have to do something like this. While cmd dot args, okay, and we got to give it an index too, so we'll do an int index equal to 0, and since this is going to be globally used, I can just take something like this and put it out here, since it's going to be globally used. And on the while args, I'm going to be a little slick with this one. So what I'm going to do is we're going to take the while args and we're going to put it in as index. Okay. And then what we're going to do is index is not equal to null. See if we can do a null out of that one. Not equal to null or 0. Or 0, which means the same thing in programming. So let's just take this, put it right here, do an or statement. Kind of want to be thorough. Okay. What we're going to do is we're going to take ATIO. Okay. We're going to convert that, and let's do this. Let's take that result. Let's do a int result equal to 0, and I'm going to take result plus and equal to. Okay. And then what I'm going to do is take an integer. Right now we're assuming it's going to be an integer, but we can make this where it's decimals too. So let's just assume that they're going to put integers in here. So, and then you got to think about if going over, because some of these objects have a certain amount of memory you can use, and you can actually find that in the GNU, GCC, C programming GCC manuals. When you're learning the language. And so what I'm going to do is let's take command arg index right here. Let's post it right here. And what we're going to do is, now there's another thing too. Right here, we have to make sure this is not null. So this can possibly break, but we're not going to worry about it. So we're going to do a printf, and then we're going to print that result out. So when we print that result out, let's just do a D, and then what we're going to do is let's once we print that D out as a digit or a decimal, we're going to do result. I like to use D for numbers, so. And we're going to print out result, and we're going to say end. Okay. So now that we got that result out there, let's kind of test this algorithm out right here, because I'm kind of leery about it, because it might fail right here. I'm not sure. So let's kind of test that out first. Let's do the happy path. Happy path is if it's a perfect world and nothing is wrong. You know. So let's take this router command right here. And what we're going to do is we're going to take we're going to put some add arguments in here. And we're going to take those add arguments, which right here, it shows that the add arguments kind of jack up a little bit. See how we got the 4 here and all of that? So let's see what happens. I have some bugs in this code, so some stuff is working great. Some things I might need to revisit. So right here, after we do our loader, after everything loads and everything, let's go and take this right here. Before we print that address out, we know that there might be one in here because we want to do the happy path. So I'm gonna take this stack right here, and that first argument that comes through, I'm gonna pass it the commands, and we'll put command 0 just to test it out, test our router out. So fingers crossed. Let's see what happens. So what I'm gonna do is, over in this make file over here, let's go and check what I'm sending it. I am sending it an add, which I expect this right here to be first number 0. So let's see if it really jacks up or not, or if I got some things mixed up. So let's go and run our make. Let's see what happens. I might have goofed something up, jacked something up, but this is behind the scenes. I can jack stuff up if I want. So let's see. Let's print it out. And then while it does that, we can review some code. And I expect it to fail, to be honest, because I might have to re-provision it or something like that. So right here, this is that algorithm right here, and we wanted to print that result out. So we're expecting that result to be 2 and 4, so it might be 6. Okay, I'm expecting to be like 6 or something like that. And we're just gonna see what happens. I can cut the compile times if I take some of them flags out of there too. I should have compiled it by do a light compile. Let's see. So it's taking a sweet time. Alright, so while we do that, we can do the subtraction, because the subtraction is kind of going to be the same. And we might can make this a bit better, but what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna be kind of dangerous and take this, put it here, and we just flip that sign right there, and then we take our print result, which our print result can go all the way to the end if we want. So what I'm gonna do is just take this right here, put it here, and we have our subtraction, and we have our adding in the CLI. So we can put as many numbers as we want because of the algorithm that I built. That works really good, by the way. The algorithm that I built out here to separate those commands, which is right here, this algorithm right here. Right here. The argument parser right here. So I made that argument parser, and it seemed to work pretty good. But we'll see. So let's see. Let's see if it jacks up. So see how it's in the infinite loop right here? Something is wrong. So I did the command args x. Nope, that's right. So see how it does this infinite loop right here? So something is wrong. So we have to go back to the drawing board because that algorithm is not working. But what I can do is test the routing period. So if I go up to, let's see something. So see, like right here, we forgot one thing right here. No, we didn't, because we're not using the x++, but we're not doing the index ++. There we go. That's what I'm missing right there. So we do that index ++, and then we do the index ++ here. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do GCC. I'm just gonna compile it on its own. So we're gonna do the file here, because I don't feel like looking at everything. And then we're gonna do the output. And the output is going to be build driver. Okay. We get it to build, and then if I actually go out to that make file, and let's take that make file and let's do a build. That's not what I'm looking for. Let's do a build, and then we're going to do a driver .exe. We'll do an add 4.2. Let's see what happens. Okay, so see how it gets a 2 right here, but right here you see how we have all that gibberish right here. So something wrong when we're injecting those numbers. So when we bring that 4 in here, something is going wrong. But if I was to do a so we got to figure out what's going wrong here, right here, which it could be where we have to go to the arguments. So if we go over to the arguments, let's see, where's our arguments at? Arguments. Okay, so this parser right here. So if we were to just start at 1, which I think 0 is the actual file name. So let's go here. Let's do another build. And then let's go and run it. See what happens. See, look at that. It's still putting gibberish in there. So let's see what's going on here. So in that parser, which I had the parser working, got the parser right here, and somewhere in here is grabbing gibberish. Right here. Which the 2 is going in there, but the 4 is not. So let's try another number. Let's go 8, see what happens. Okay. So yeah, so obviously this right here is not the issue. And what we can do is let's go and let's do a printf, and let's take that argument out of there. Let's see what that argument is. So right here, so look at that. Where am I doing a print for this? So I'm doing a print right here, which prints out that name, which that's gibberish as well. See how I'm doing that string copy, which possibly if I'm doing the string copy and I'm printing out the name for that first one, I might not need to do a string copy for it. I might just need to do something like this. Let's do something like this. Kill this. See what happens. So let's go and recompile it. See if it breaks. Yeah, it broke. Well, because I got this right here. So let's cancel this out right here. And let's do another compile. And let's go here, do an 8 and a 2. which right here is still doing the same thing. See how argument 0 right here is a gibberish. So right, where am I doing argument 0? So let's see something. Let's go into this print command right here. I think the print command is what's doing it. Come on. And which means that when I did that string copy here, I can leave it. Just leave it. Because we know the string copy is working because the router is working. So right here, let's take this out. And then we got the argv here. So I think part of the problem is me not doing the x++. Well, I do the x++ right here. Okay, that's fine. So let's go over to here. The print command. See what that print command is doing. Print command, which is right here. Let's see. So the ID is right here. So which we never, I don't think we ever set an ID. So we can take this out right here. But right here, this is where that argument is coming in to be gibberish. Okay. So since that argument is coming in to be gibberish, let's see what's going on. We got the digit, just right there. And then we got arg0. And so this argument right here is not being propagated properly. So what I might have to do is this right here. I'm gonna have to maybe do something like this. Okay, so let's take this and let's do a cmd args. I might be breaking the rules too. Equal to this right here. And instead of this, what we're going to do is take this right here, copy it, we're going to put it in here, the size of this variable right here, we're going to remove this, and we're going to take this right here, it's just going to be this, and we're going to take this, pull this puppy out of here, put it here, and then we're going to take this, pull it back. Let's see if it yells at me. And no, it did not yell at me. So right here, we do that string copy. So we can take that string copy from here. And we can take the string copy, put it here, and take this, put it here, and kill this right here. And let's see what happens when we do that mem allocation and then we copy it over. So if I was to do a run, which I might have broke it, and then when I run the 8 and 2, boom. So that worked, which we got a negative right here. We got to figure out what's going on with that. So when we go and did the 8 and 2 for the add, we got the right number. But right here, this might be the problem right here, how we're doing our math. So if we're doing our math and then we get a negative, we got to figure out why are we getting a negative 10, which means that it could be doing a subtraction instead. It's running into the sub. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove the sub. You know what I'm going to do? Let's do added results so we can see what's going on here. Okay. So if added results pop up, then that means it did add it. It's just right here, some math is off. Okay, because we're doing that plus and equal to right there. but it's giving us a negative for some reason. So let's, and I do this right here, so I won't have to get a count. I can dynamically, this algorithm is to dynamically grab values that are valid. So if I do, let's not do the make, and let's rerun it. Make the driver again, and then let's run that driver with an 8 and a 2, and then see how we're not getting added results. We're not getting added results at all. So let's see something about when we do that add. So see, the add is out here, but it might be some space in between there. So we might have to trim that. That might be what we have to do. Because I think it's hitting else if. Because if we take this right here and do a plus, and this is why I hate using else ifs. I knew this was gonna happen. So, but let's test that theory and see if I was right. Okay, let's run our 8 and 2. See, right there. So that's another lesson to you too. Else if suck. Never use it. I hate using it. So what we're gonna do is remove this right here, because that string compare I don't think is working the way I want it to work. But we just gotta figure out why is it working. Why is it going to else if as well? Okay. So, or what we can do is when it goes in here, we gotta test this add out. So we have to figure out a way where we might have to trim this right here, do a trim, or it could be where there's more in here than what it is, that name right there. So let me see something. Let's go to see something. Trim. See. Yeah. See, it'd take me a lot just to do a trim for this. Which means that we do want to get the true value of what add is. But because we allocated we might have allocated some stuff for this, we might have to make a trim function where it only grabs the characters of this right here. So I'm gonna do a little bit more work on this, but I know that we might have to trim this down, and I have to figure out why is it going to sub. Okay, let me see something. Let me make sure I'm using string compare properly. Let's see. Let's go and look at this manual for the string compare. So for string compare, if it returns less than 0, then it indicates the string is less than. If it returns greater than 0, then it indicates that the string is less than string 1 if it turns the equal to 0. So, which means that if it equals to 0, that means it's, in a sense, it's true, but it's marking this as false. So what I will have to do is equal to 0, equal to 0. So this don't return a true or false, okay? It's going to return a 0, which is a -1, which means they're unequal, or 1, which means they're unequal, or a 0, which means that they are equal, okay? So let's try this again. Let's see if I fixed all these problems. There we go. Boom. So my sub, I can change my sub back. And so now we actually have our router. Okay. So I take that back. It's not what I thought it was, where else if was skipping, which is not possible because of how I did the diagnosis. It means, so what happened was I was using my string copy wrong. So right here we can do sub. And let's do an entire let's go here. And so right here, what we're going to do is we're going to do a, we're going to say while. So first we got to do two different loops, okay? So the first loop would be the commands, okay? So right here, we want to grab all the commands. Actually, we just do one loop. So while commands, okay? And we can get an index in here. So we do index, do a index is equal to 0. I like to use index a lot, as you can see. And what I'm going to do is do index. So we got to check two things. Remember, we allocated the whole thing. So we want to check if command is legit as well. So we want to do a dot empty while it's not empty, okay? Or if it's not empty. I'm going to do a while it's not empty because we stack everything. But later on down the road, it might break if we like shuffle things around. I want it to always be tightly coupled though, really tight, okay? So what I'm gonna do is, let's take our command router right here. And what we're gonna do is, we want not empty, okay? So we want this to be false, all right? So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take index, and then we're gonna do index plus plus, okay? And this is maybe the final thing for this small CLI. So let's go here, and let's do the run, and let's test it out in full string. So let's do a sub 120 and 34. Let's do an add 34 and 56, and let's give it a run. So see what happened? So something I gotta figure out here. So right here, we gotta figure out, did it ever put it in the zeros place when it did the parser? So something about right here, that index and the empty. So what I'm gonna have to do is, I'm gonna have to figure out why did it dump out on me like this, okay? But if I do just the 8 and the 2, it might work. Let's see. Let's see what else. Let's see if it went wrong. Let's see if it bombs out on the 8 and the 2. No, it doesn't bomb out on the 8 and the 2. Let's see if it bombs out on a sub. See, it bombs out on that sub, so let's do this. Okay, which is fine. So that means that it's not moving to the next instruction. It's not pushing those instructions in. It's only pushing instructions to the top. That's it. That's what it sounds like that's going on. I'm not sure yet. So I got to figure out what's going on with that. We got the CLI kind of working a little bit, but we're going to have to get it working more. And so we have to find out what our bugs are. So right here, let's see if I take the router, and I know I'm putting 2 commands in there, right? So if I'm putting 2 commands in there, so let's start with the 0, which we know the 0 works, right? And it could be a referencing issue. We know that works. So let's go and try to hit the 0. So let's do a compile. And then let's do a run on the sub, and the sub works. Okay. So now let's do a 1. Let's see if it's actually incrementing that 1 like it should be, or is it overriding the top? Okay. So let's go over here and let's do the compile. Let's do the sub, and let's do the add. And see, So I think that when we did this in here, it's not grabbing the next index, it's overwriting that other index. So what we'll do is, let's go over to where we do the push those commands in. There we go. Come on. So when we push those commands in, we're finding one that's not empty. And see how we set this to false where it's not empty? It might be a thing where, so if empty is false, we want to run it while empty is false. Okay? I can try to do a equal to false, but then right here, you see how we do these command arguments? Remember we had that same problem on this command arguments. So what we might can do is do that string copy again when we do the memory allocation. So when we do that memory allocation right here, what we might have to do is take this right here, actually take this, reallocate it. So when we reallocate this right here, we'll take this mlock right here, and we're going to take this here, and then we want it to be the size of whatever's coming in. So it'll be the size of this argument right here. Okay. And once we make it the size of this argument right here, then what we do is we take this, do a string copy, strcpy, and we want to take our source over to here, and we want to put this here, and then we want to take this, put it here. Okay. So we reallocated that memory and did a proper string copy, because when you do that string copy, you have to actually set it up for, you have to allocate the right amount of memory, which we want to match this memory, and then what we want to do is use the string copy technique to copy it over. Okay. So let's see what happens. And then right here, this false can stay the same. You don't need a string allocation for that. But because this does one command at a time, it's pushing one command at a time. So that entire command, while it's still on that same index, we just want to make the empty right there. So let's go back down to our driver. And what I mean by driver is, you'll hear that a lot from me. It's from kernel development. The main program is your driver. So that driver right here is right here. Okay. So while false, okay, and we can be on the safe side to say while this equals the false. Okay. So what we'll do, just to cut down some complexity, we'll just do false. Okay. Well, this is false and it increments. Let's see if I fixed it or not. If I didn't, then I'm going to cut the video, and then I'm going to come back to this because this is getting kind of long. We're at an hour now. So, but I'm going to do some scene cuts and everything. So let's do that compile. And then let's give it a run. See, it's still jacked up. So if I do this right here, let's see what happens. See, it goes straight there. So it's something else I got to figure out what's going on with it, and go from there. Peace.